Well, I'm Anil Kumar, and I'd like to have some help from you. So, could you tell us what's your name?
My name is Coulter.
Colton, very nice to see you. Could you tell us about so many beautiful planes and gliders which we have, different kinds of planes? Yep.
Well, I guess we should start with with the one ahead of us. This is the Bell 47D1. It was made by the Bell Corporation. It started. The first flight of the prototype was in 1945. The timeline on here.
Okay.
But the Bell series of helicopters was popularized by the series known as MASH, where it was a fictional series about the Korean War, and this is where, in helicopters like these, in the actual Korean War, soldiers would be fitted onto. You have to excuse me here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But soldiers would be fitted onto these, two soldiers at a time,
Okay.
and they would be flown in into bases like this. But for the purposes of the Bushplane Museum, these were most definitely used for water bombing or at the very most mercy missions.
What?
And now, as we go from the smallest helicopter, we go to the biggest plane. This is a heavy duty water bomber, usually used in massive forest fires, and there could potentially be 3, 4, or 5 of these at a time. Here's one of their engines. As you can see, it was only a 2-engine plane, but these engines are absolutely massive. This plane is, of course, the CL-215. It's a very technical name. There's no actual name for it. It's just the CL-215, and it's been in service with the Ontario Air Provincial Service for quite some time. It's still in service, although some of them have been phased out and for newer, better planes. Kind of an offhand addition is the Saunders. It's a passenger plane that was actually a converted plane from another series called the Huron. There were only 13 of them made, so this is actually a very rare plane.
Yeah.
And it's also very uncomfortable. Here, we can actually go inside this one.
Sure. That'd be fun.
Please watch your step.
Sure. Amita, come. Yes, crowded here. Oh, I see. Yeah.
So this would be considered first class.
Okay.
You have leg room.
Right.
And then here is where everything starts to become cramped. Now, can you imagine a very long flight in this thing, a cross Canada flight even?
Wow. So I'm on first class.
There are some seatbelts, but don't actually use them, please. I'm not entirely sure if they actually work. Most of them have either been torn out or have been replaced. There were pockets on these, but I believe some of these are actually replacements. And kids put things on this all the time. This is where I go after a big group of kids has come through. This is the cockpit, also very cramped, very uncomfortable.
Sure.
I would not want to be sitting in this for upwards of 8 hours.
Definitely.
Again.
But that's a rare thing. I mean, it's a good collection.
If you want, we can also go inside the big water bomber.
Yeah, sure, we should. So we are getting into the water bomber, the biggest one here.
Again, please watch your head. Also watch your step. It's a little disorienting in here. This is on long flights. This is where the crew would either be sitting down or sleeping. And these are the water tanks, just to make sure that there's actual water in there, and they could also be used as fire retardant tanks.
Right, right.
You know, if you ever see the news reels where big red plumes of smoke come from water bombers like these, that's fire retardant.
I see, okay.
As you can tell, it's definitely a lot more spacious, but
Yes.
not a whole lot of comfortable space for the crew.
That's beautiful.
Again, watch your head.
Very practical. That's Let me just give overall view. That is a cramped plane which we saw just now.
And this old contraption was a link trainer. if you've ever seen like space flight organizations, you might have noticed that they have the big rotating
Platform.
big rotating platform so that people can deal with G-forces. Well, this is a pilot's version where this would rotate depending on like where you actually moved it. It's non-functional now, but this is a really old device and just a lot of history behind it. Because imagine how many 2B bushplaners would have been in here pretending to fly, like not pretending, but just like practicing to flying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And no matter how many times you practice, sometimes the weather might get to you. And that is where two unfortunate bushplaners like this happen.
Oh.
This is the Bull CF-08, and this is a Fokker Super Universal CF-AGE. So both of these were found at the bottom of a lake after crashing. I believe the pilot survived this crash. And this was a Mercy plane, actually.
I see. Okay.
Mercy planes are planes and pilots who go out and like rescue lost people or people that were left behind in an expedition. This was really, really early in Canada's history, so not a whole lot of people. There weren't many roads. There weren't many airstrips. So a lot of planes like this had to land in water.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the Mercy mission for this was for a baby.
No.
And although the pilots tried their best upon crash landing because of the weather, the baby did not make it.
Oh, that's so sad.
The pilots did make it, but and as you can see, there are men in bush since Saturday without food or shelter.
Yep.
All of their supplies went down with the plane, so they had to scrounge what they could.
Yep.
This is CF-BGN. It's just a small passenger plane, but was commonly used to ferry people north and south. The Reliant FR-9. Been in production since 1937, and it ended production in 1950.
Wow.
The Air Service. This is when they retired them.
So great technology for that period.
Although I think, is this one made of fiberglass or wood? Fiberglass. It was still a very new technology back then, so
Yep.
it wasn't uncommon to see planes made from wood at that point. Now this is a weird looking plane, the RC-3CB by Republic. And it had compared to planes like the Reliant or the Beaver, as we'll be getting to later.
Yep.